This is Earth. Right now, we're traveling at a speed of about 11.2 kilometers per second. That's 11,200 meters per second. For comparison, muzzle velocities range from approximately 120 to 370 meters per second in black powder muskets, and to more than 1,200 meters per second in modern rifles. But no regular guns have muzzle velocities greater than or equal to our current speed. If they did, you could use them to shoot into space such that the bullets left our planet entirely and never fell back. 11.2 kilometers per second is the escape velocity of Earth, the speed that a projectile must have when launched from the surface to never stop and fall back due to gravity. That's fast, but it doesn't look like much. That's because Earth is really, really, really big. This episode is going to be all about the big. We will talk about the scale of the universe, from planets to stars to galaxies to unimaginably larger structures still. Welcome to SpaceTrek. The universe is a big place, and that was probably as far as you're ever going to get in understating something. The mind-numbing immensity of the universe is well beyond anyone's imagination. Right now, you're looking at our home planet, Earth. And as you may have noticed by now, Earth is big. So big, in fact, that the entire vertical distance from the tip of Mount Everest to the bottom of Mariana Trench would be smaller than the depth of your fingerprints if the Earth were shrunk down to the size of a regular school globe. But as you may know, Jupiter, the largest planet in the solar system, is way larger than Earth. That red spot there is one of the storms that are currently raging on Jupiter. It's called the Great Red Spot. That storm is 1.3 times the size of Earth. 1.3 times the size of the world. And Jupiter itself is about 11 times larger than Earth in terms of diameter. This behemoth is the most gravitationally powerful object in the solar system other than the Sun. Saturn, the jewel of the solar system and the largest planet in the system after Jupiter, has a majestic ring system whose diameter is about 100 times the distance between Nebraska and Miami. That's about 2/3 of the way to the moon. Getting dizzy yet? Look at this carefully. This is how far apart the Earth and the Moon are. Venus, the closest planet to Earth, is 100 times as far away at its closest approach. The radius of Earth's orbit, 150 million kilometers, or nearly 12,000 times the diameter of the Earth itself. Think about that sentence for a bit and let it sink in. Now, don't fall off your chair just yet, unless of course you're standing, in which case, please sit down. Because the orbit of the outermost planet in the solar system, Neptune, is 30 times that of Earth. The solar system is mind-numbingly immense compared to anything that you might be used to. We haven't even reached its edge yet. The outer edge, marked by the Oort cloud, lies 3,300 times as far away from the Sun as the orbit of Neptune. Quite a jump, right? That distance is approximately 1.6 light years. The light year is just a unit of distance, just like a meter or a foot. It's the distance that light traveling through space would cover in a year's time. And light is fast. Fast enough that in a single second it can circle the Earth 7.5 times. Or just take a trip to the moon. That is really, really, really fast. It means that light can travel from the Sun to Earth in just 8 minutes, to Mars in 12.5 minutes, to Neptune in about 4 hours. But to get to the outer edge of our solar system, it would take a beam of light 1.6 years. This is the closest star to Earth, Proxima Centauri. It's part of a double star system called the Alpha Centauri system. Yes, that's right, a double star system. In fact, most of the stars you can see at night are actually multiple star systems. Most stars in the night sky dance with partners. Anyways, Proxima Centauri is 4 light years away from the Sun. 4 light years. That is far enough away that the fastest spacecraft we have ever launched, traveling at its maximum speed the whole time, would take 6,600 years to get to. And that's the nearest star. There are about 250 billion stars in our galaxy. That number is so crazy big that if you were to make a stack of that many pennies, you could stack them up to 99% of the way to the moon. That's how many stars there are in our galaxy. So either we come up with the warp drive, or we're simply not going any place that's even remotely distant from Earth in cosmic terms anytime soon. Oh, and just in case you're about to go take an aspirin or something, that's just our galaxy. There are 100 billion galaxies in the known universe. And the nearest large one, the Andromeda Galaxy, which is headed our way by the way, and will eventually collide with the Milky Way, whole different story. That galaxy is 2.5 million light years away from ours. That's 24 times as far away from the Milky Way as the Milky Way is wide. Now, I know it does no good to give you this number that I'm about to give you, but this is just to really rub it in. That distance is 1.6 million times the radius of the solar system. And that's just the distance to the nearest galaxy. The observable universe is filled with at least 100 billion galaxies. It's 93 billion light years across. If you were to try to count up to that number at the rate of about one number per second, it would take it 3,000 years to get there. Try imagining the sheer immensity of the distance signified by that number of light years. Feeling kinda small? Tinier than you ever thought you were? That's because compared to the scale of the universe, we are tiny, insignificant.
From this distant vantage point, the Earth might not seem of any particular interest. But for us, it's different. Consider again that dot. That's here. That's home. That's us. On it, everyone you love, everyone you know, everyone you ever heard of, every human being who ever was, lived out their lives. The aggregate of our joy and suffering, thousands of confident religions, ideologies, and economic doctrines, every hunter and forager, every hero and coward, every creator and destroyer of civilization, every king and peasant, every young couple in love, every mother and father, hopeful child, inventor and explorer, every teacher of morals, every corrupt politician, every superstar, every supreme leader, every saint and sinner in the history of our species lived there, on a mote of dust, suspended in a sunbeam. The Earth is a very small stage in a vast cosmic arena. Think of the rivers of blood spilled by all those generals and emperors, so that in glory and triumph they could become the momentary masters of a fraction of a dot. Think of the endless cruelties visited by the inhabitants of one corner of this pixel on the scarcely distinguishable inhabitants of some other corner. How frequent their misunderstandings, how eager they are to kill one another, how fervent their hatreds. Our posturings, our imagined self-importance, the delusion that we have some privileged position in the universe, are challenged by this point of pale light. Our planet is a lonely speck in the great enveloping cosmic dark. In our obscurity, in all this vastness, there is no hint that help will come from elsewhere to save us from ourselves. The Earth is the only world known so far to harbor life. There is nowhere else, at least in the near future, to which our species could migrate. Visit? Yes. Settle? Not yet. Like it or not, for the moment, the Earth is where we make our stand. It has been said that astronomy is a humbling and character-building experience. there is perhaps no better demonstration of the folly of human conceits than this distant image of our tiny world. To me, it underscores our responsibility to deal more kindly with one another and to preserve and cherish the pale blue dot, the only home we've ever known.